Hi, it's another day and you're welcome to the AFCON Daily Show on Citi TV. My name is Nathan. Our show is proudly brought to us by Bet Power. If you want to experience the all-round betting feel, or you want to get an all-round betting experience, then you need to sign on to Bet Power. They've got the biggest odds, the largest payouts, the biggest wins, and different games for you to enjoy. It depends on what you like. They have everything out there for you. If you are a punter, of course, the AFCON is around, so place bets on the AFCON games on Bet Power and walk away with absolutely brilliant wins and huge sums of money on your mobile money wallet, your pocket, whatever it is. They are sponsoring the show, Bet Power. And of course, we are also on DSTV channel 363 and GoTV channel 182. So if you are not getting the signal on free-to-air, you can get us on DSTV and on GoTV. My name is Nathan Kwao. Many thanks for joining us. We'll take a very quick break. When we come back, we dive into the show. My guests are ready. I hope you are ready. We are profiling or previewing the quarterfinals of the AFCON, which begins today. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. This is the AFCON Daily Show on Citi TV. My name is Nathan Kwao. Once again, show proudly brought to us by Bet Power. Let me introduce my guest. Retaining his spot from yesterday's starting 11 is Sednam Edmond. How are you doing?
I'm good. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm all right. Many thanks for joining us. And let me welcome Iman Onubo. Iman, I haven't seen you in a while.
I've been around. I've been hiding like the Ghanaian players.
You've been hiding. I like that. The Ghanaian players, after they exited the AFCON, they didn't come home. Everybody sneaked out and went wherever it is they went to. But they'll be back for the World Cup qualifiers. We'll be waiting for them, though. All righty, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Our state is here. A few weeks ago, we had 24 teams. Now we have 8. Wow.
Big surprises, too.
Yes.
Very big.
I don't know which one has surprised you, Emmanuel.
Well, I would say Angola.
Angola, okay.
I would say Angola.
Why?
First of all, I wasn't expecting them to get this far. I thought they would probably struggle to make third place and then be part of those qualifiers. Especially, I think in 3 games prior to the AFCON, they didn't score a goal. And they've scored 9 in the AFCON now in 4 games. So they've been very impressive. For me, I didn't expect much from them. The other surprise is I didn't expect much of the teams that we thought would win this tournament to be out. There's no Morocco. There's no defending champions are out. There's no Ghana. I mean, we didn't expect Ghana to do anything, but some big teams are falling out along the line. And I think this is the most interesting AFCON I have honestly watched. The upsets have been all over the place. And it's been a joy to watch, and it's testament to the fact that African football has come far. There are no minnows now. Everybody is developing their game. So on a good day, if you do not show up, and another team does, teamwork and the work they've put in is evident, and it's been beautiful to watch. I think we are selling African football out there very well.
Yep, and to think that the AFCON is on Sky Sports, imagine that's how big it is for an entity like Sky Sports to invest money and show all the games. That's huge. Yeah, that is huge.
I mean, that's also testament to the number of African players we have in the Premier League. You take a team like Nottingham Forest, I think they lost about 6 or 7 players, and a chunk of their starting lineup to the AFCON. So for them, it's a win-win for them. It's also scouting for the players who are performing well. So I think it's a win for Africa either way.
Yesterday, I got your thoughts on the surprise. Yeah. I think you mentioned Cape Verde.
For the surprise package, I mentioned Cape Verde, yes, I did. Yeah. But I would have to say that for us not having top 5, anyone ranked in this...
The top 5
in Africa.
At this point in time, it's surprising. You hardly find that anywhere. You hardly play a tournament. Even the Euros. Let's compare it to the Euros now. Yeah. Now, we've gotten to the level where you can compare the AFCON to the Euros. You'd not find Euros, they are playing Euros and top 5 countries. England out,
imagine
France
Spain,
out,
France, Germany, Italy,
all of them out. Nobody will watch the competition again. But this is a different ball that we're playing here in Africa. And for me, it's been fantastic. But I really plead the surprises are enough.
You don't want any more.
Let's revert to normal status. Now the surprises are just a little
yesterday I was having a conversation with somebody, and the person said, out of the 8 teams left, only 2 have won the AFCON before. So DRC, 2-time winners, and Nigeria.
And I think Nigeria will be the most recent.
You need to increase it to 3 because 3. South Africa has
South Africa is 96. So 3 of 6.
The 3 of
8 are at this point. So meaning that there's a possibility we could have a completely new AFCON winner out of the winners bracket.
I would love that.
A totally new winner, like Cape Verde.
I would.
Imagine if Cape Verde wins the AFCON. They'll party the whole year.
And if Nigeria wins, they are level with us now.
Ah,
you wouldn't want to sneak into Twitter or anywhere on social media. So.
I see. All right, let's have a look at the fixture tree. The fixture tree in terms of the last 8 or the quarterfinals, and then we'll plot the story from there. The quarterfinals are set, and I love how the draw looks on either side of the trophy. Nigeria and Angola on one end, Cape Verde and South Africa in that same line, and on the other side, that's a bit more complex. Mali and Cote d'Ivoire, and then DRC or Democratic Republic of Congo and Guinea. They are on the other side of the draw, so we could have any kind of mix. We could have Nigeria making it, Angola making it, Cape Verde making it, South Africa, and on this other side, it could be anybody. It could be Mali, it could be Cote d'Ivoire, it could be DRC, it could be Guinea. So that's how the fixture tree looks like, and that's the draw that has been set up for the last 8 of the competition. Let's start our preview and let's focus on the very first game of the quarterfinal. It's happening at 5 p.m. today, and it's between Nigeria and Angola. Nigeria and Angola fighting for a place in the quarterfinals. Let's start off with Nigeria's run. Nigeria's run to this point of the competition. They've played 4 games, 3 in the group stage, 1 in the round of 16. And yes, that's today's game. They are playing in Abidjan at the Stade Félix Houphouët-Boigny, at the center of Abidjan. That's where that game is taking place. 5 p.m. Nigeria, Angola. But let's have a look at Nigeria's journey. Nigeria's journey from the group stage up until this point. Like I said, they played 3 group games, 1 round of 16 games. Let's see how they got here. All right, so that's how come the Angolans made it to the last 8. Before that, you saw the story of the Nigerians. So the 2 of them will meet this evening at 5 p.m. And by the time that game ends, somebody's on their flight back home or wherever it is they came from. Somebody will progress. We don't know whether the AFCON winner will come from this game. But now let me start off with you. We've seen everybody's journey. Nigeria's journey, a little bumpy on the way, but they made a group stage, beat Cameroon. I thought they were very good in that game against Cameroon. And now they are here playing for the right to be called AFCON 2023 semi-finalists. Just your general thoughts on what you've seen from them in these 4 games that they've played.
Well, for Nigeria, personally, I've seen them evolve from a certain kind of football. We know them, and we initially associated with them. We thought that they were going to come into this competition. Personally, I thought they were going to come here and then just blew everybody out of the water because of the attacking power they had. But now it has rather switched. It's their defense that's keeping them in the competition. And you have to hand it to them how they finally found a way to put together a solid tournament momentum and get it going. They are the highest ranked team, and at this point, it's their tournament to lose. But this game would really, really, really prove that they need, whether they need to win it or they are not yet there. Okay. Both of them have certain things similar, but we'll get to that a bit later. But for Nigeria, this is the biggest stage for them to go on. They are trying to equal a certain record, and which
they have the opportunity to stay on course for that. Emmanuel, let's talk a bit about the Angolans. What have you made of their journey? We saw them also evolve, and like you said, when you look at the nature of the football and I won't call it surprise, but the results, I can understand why you nominate them as your surprise pick of the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, for a team that prior to the tournament couldn't find the net, to score 9 goals in 4 games, that's very impressive. And I mean, that's front 3. Gelson Dala, Mabululu, and then Gilberto. Yeah. Then you have Freddie in behind them. They've between those 4 players, they found something which seems to be working for them. Okay. Out of the 9 goals they've scored, Gilberto and Mabululu have 7. So then it looks like if you are going to face Angola and any of these 4, any of these 3, if you don't put a man on them, you don't stop them from being effective, you are really going to find trouble. And if you look at how the tournament has gone with what Selkem was saying, you'd think you'd think Nigeria, a team like Nigeria, with the attacking prowess they boast, would have been more like an end-to-end game, because Angola also like to attack very well. They pass, they move, And you look at, I think, the second goal against Namibia, where Freddie is in, he can actually shoot, but he's looking for the best pass to make the chance even more easier. Yeah. And that's the kind of team they are. So for a team with that much chemistry, going against Nigeria, who now, with all the offensive powers they have, are a defensive team. But I've actually been very impressed with their defense. Okay. I think outside the first game, and when they switched to a back three or a back five, they've not conceded any goal. So it's going to be a very interesting watch. But then, with the attacking power of Angola, with how they possess the ball and how they move around, I've personally not been too impressed with Nigeria's midfield.
Okay.
Onyeka, yes, he's been good in some games. He's not been too good. Offensively, yes, Iwobi has been good. But then if you look at that, Freddie in there, and you look at the attacking powers that Angola have forward, I think they can cause this Nigeria team real problems. I don't think Cameroon challenged them enough. Cameroon actually didn't score any proper goal apart from goals from crosses. And in that game, it didn't work. Guinea didn't threaten them. I think outside Equatorial Guinea, no other team really threatened Nigeria much. But I do think that this Angolan team have that firepower with how they move around and how they possess the ball. And that will put this Nigerian defense to a proper test. And it will be a great watch. I'm just hoping that Angola wins, honestly.
But, if we focus a lot more on the capabilities of the Angolans, and you guys have highlighted brilliantly how Nigeria have become almost like a counter-attacking team while the Angolans get on the ball and play. How, if you are Angola and you find yourself in this position, I'm sure typically they would love to be in Nigeria's position where they are the underdogs. How do they handle such a game where Nigeria have almost become this counter-attacking team and they now have to probably go after Nigeria?
Well, actually, both of them, in as much as Angola tend to keep the ball a little bit more than the Nigerians, as we've seen in the tournament, both of them tend to cede the possession to the other team so that they try and all play on the break. So it's going to be a very, very interesting watch because it's like, in as much as they are set up differently, they play with a similar mentality. Let's try and hit people on the counter. But the Angolans do it much more differently. They do it with a little bit more panache, I would say, and the Nigerians are more direct. So if I am Pedro, is it Goncalves?
Yes, Pedro Goncalves.
Let's move the ball quickly. The Nigerian defense, they sit really deep and they've closed all the spaces. Yeah. So if you're going to be able to penetrate this Nigerian defense, you need to really move the ball quickly. And one person, that's Mobolulu, he needs to just take out two of those defenders, pick one person, isolate him, and create opportunity for the likes of Freddie to try and get in some runs, and also Gilberto coming in with some crosses. Crossing in this game will be very difficult for them if they try to go wide, but if they try coming in a bit, it will be a bit easier. Moving the ball quicker is all the key that Angola needs.
I see. For the Nigerians, what's the most appropriate way to approach this Angolan team? High on confidence, ruthless in attack. How can they neutralize the Angolans and make the last four?
I think Simon doesn't have to start this game.
He's had a very underwhelming competition.
Yes, he's not been that good. I think Chukwueze should start this game.
Okay.
I like how Osimhen seems to be a bit more selfless now, seeing that he will be the one that the defense will have their eyes on. He's more or less playing a decoy role and try to feed in Lukman and whoever else is playing up front with him. But I'll still need more from him. I don't think he's the reigning African Footballer of the Year. I'll need to see more from him. And just as my colleague said, it's Nigeria's tournament to lose. They are the highest ranked team now. So they will need to show their prowess in this game. They will need to, break off a bit of the defense, impose your will in this game. Because the longer it stays 0-0, the more Angola will grow in confidence, the more Angola will try and find a way to break them down. So Nigeria, I think I need to see a bit more from this. Prove to us that you are truly the African Player of the Year.
But that would be almost going against what has gotten them here. And for Jose Pesero, who wants to keep his job, one bad result and he's out.
Yeah, but it's the knockout stage. I don't think you'd want to, for a team like Nigeria, I don't think you'd want to gamble with penalties. You don't want to go the way Egypt went, where they felt, our goalkeeper is phenomenal. Yeah. Once it gets to penalties, we are winning, and he's actually the one that misses. You don't want to play that game. Okay. You don't want to kill the game in 90 minutes. Rest your legs for the next round. You didn't want it to, because the longer the game stays, the underdog tends to grow in confidence. They tend to have something more to grab to. You also become desperate because you feel like you're the bigger team and you have a point to prove. And in that situation, in that sequence, it normally favors the underdog. So I don't think Nigeria should even be looking at that. The earlier they score, disrupts Angola's game plan, throw it out the window. Then now they are forced to do something which they don't want to do, and they play it into your hands because already you are set up defensively and you don't want to counter them. Then now you can float those balls to Osimhen, let him hold on, bring the other players like Lukman Chukwueze or whoever is playing with them in play. Then you kill the game. If they don't do that, the game stays barren for longer. Angola growing confidence. They just need one goal and they are going to sit back. They are never going to come forward. And that would be very disastrous for Nigeria because it's their tournament to lose, actually.
Interesting. We'll see how the Super Eagles will fare. Let's have a look at their numbers, or the numbers that have accompanied these two teams to this stage of their competition. Nigeria, they've scored 5. They've considered only 1. 3 clean sheets with Ademola Lookman as their top scorer. Never in my life did I think I'd be reading something like Ademola Lookman. I don't know why the enduring image of Lookman fluffing a panenka in the Premier League is still in my head. So. But he's playing very well in Italy these days for Atalanta. So, that's that. Let's have a look at the Angolan numbers. 8 goals. I don't know whether they're the tournament's top scorers. I think they are. I'm not too sure.
I think so. In between them and
second most, I'm told. Second most. They've conceded 3. So Cape Verde. Cape Verde. Wow. Tournament's leading scorers. Amazing. 8 goals scored, 3 conceded, 1 clean sheet. Gelson Dalla has 2. The final bit, though, guys, if there's anything we've seen from this Angolan team is the delivery and the danger from the set plays. You know, Gilberto is whipping them in. That will be a concern to Nigeria. Emmanuel?
Well, I mean...
or they've got the physicality to deal with it.
I think if you, as my colleague said once again, if you are going to beat this Nigerian team, it will have to be intricate play in the middle. You would have to move players, move into space, move the ball quicker. Try to move the defense around a little bit, because we clearly saw against, was it Cote d'Ivoire also, that nobody is going past Calvin Bassey on the left. You're not going past Olaina on the right. Yeah. So if you are going to concentrate,
and Truste Kong is an imposing figure at the back.
Ajayi is also tall. Nothing is getting past him in there. So if you are going to concentrate all your play out wide, you are going to be setting up yourself for failure, because now what you'd have to do is you'd have to commit either 2 men to outnumber whoever is out there wide. Yeah. That's committing more men there. You leave the gaps in the middle. They play through either the half spaces. They'll kill you. So they will have to, first of all, be able to keep the ball. The game will be in spells. Nigeria will have their spells. They also have their spells. When they have theirs, there will have to be some movement, because the concentration obviously will be on Mabululu. He is the big man. Yeah. He pins them down. Maybe he can draw himself a bit deeper so that the 2 other white players get in there. Freddie can pick some passes, break the lines. That's the way they will beat Nigeria. But if they are set plays to, yes, it's going to be a bit more difficult, but maybe not corners, because when it's a corner, they are more set up.
Yeah, of course.
But then if it's a set play, let's see, 40 or 50 yards from pole, they'll probably try to set the line up a bit. There's
or
movement.
An in-play situation where you find the cross.
Exactly. Yeah. And these Nigerian keepers, they've not been that convincing. let's be serious.
Take shots.
Zoho and whoever is catching out.
I was reading quotes from Jose Pesero talking about the first choice keeper, and his name has escaped me. He's saying that if he's not
Zoho? No, it's Nwabeli.
Yeah, I think. That if he's not fit, Zoho plays. And the reaction under that tweet, no Nigerians do not want to see Zoho.
No, but actually, their number one, I gather, is he has been training with the team for 2 days now, so he might.
Zoho.
No.
Zoho
is not.
Zoho is a no-no.
He's a no-no. The Nigerians don't want him in the post.
They don't even want Ojo, who is the 3rd choice, to even come close to their post.
Wow, this is interesting.
So they are lucky he's going to possibly start. But this is the game that your big man up front, Cup Player of the Year, he should score. Yeah. If he doesn't score in this game, I don't fancy him scoring in any other game.
But maybe he could be like an Olivier Giroud, right? But you don't score, but you do every other thing. Your teammates get the goals. Nigeria wins the AFCON.
Yeah, but looking at his previous game and the amount of pressure he applied on...
Some of the chances he has missed have been glaring.
Yeah.
The Cote d'Ivoire game.
In this game, he's going to get a lot of chances because of Gaspar, the number 6 shattered man for Angola. He has a lot of mistakes around him. So he just needs to isolate him and have the beating of him.
I see. Just finally, though, on Angola, should they exit today? should they be disappointed? If they exit today, should they be disappointed?
Not at all. They should keep their heads high. They should find a way of bringing youngsters into this team to keep their name up there. These guys are getting into the twilight of their career, so they need to find young talent to keep the Angolan name there, as other countries are failing to recognize that they are big footballing nations. Other people...
What is the meaning of it? Every day you are here throwing jabs, shades to who I don't know.
No,
which country? Which you tell us the country?
In this case, Ghana is failing to know that it's a footballing nation, and other nations.
Mention names every day
because they are not in the competition anymore.
So you can't mention their names.
No, those who are not in the competition, we can't. We can only refer to them.
Let's talk about the second game, and DRC versus Guinea. They also play later today at 8 p.m. Lots of people look at this game and say, may not be exciting. You never know. This could be the game where they score 5-5 and go to extra. You never know. Oh, 0-0. DRC versus Guinea. That game is at 8 p.m. It's at the Alassane Ouattara Stadium in Abidjan. So that's on the other side of Abidjan. It's been paid a bit like on the outskirts, while the other game is at the Stade Fébanier. Let's have a look at how the two teams made it here. First, DR Congo, and then we'll look at Guinea's journey to the last 8. All right, so that was the story, or those were the stories of DRC and Guinea. DRC, very interesting story there. They've, gone through, not winning a game, beat Egypt in a shootout. Guinea, at least they won a few games. The most dramatic one being that 1-0 in the Guinea derby, beating Equatorial Guinea by that late winner. And they are now here in the last 8. Emmanuel, let me start. Let's talk about DRC. I know lots of people don't get excited about DRC, but I insist that today may be the day when they take off the shackles and play. Just your thoughts on what you've seen from them so far.
They are playing proper tournament football. Basically, that's what they are doing. If we are not going to win, we are not going to get beat either. And if it's in the knockouts, we'll go to penalties and try like that. That's what they are basically doing. But I think they have a very good team. Even though on the African front, club-wise, they've kind of gone down a bit. But I think with their national team, they've been very good. Their coach has found a way to map out a strategy, put these players together under the leadership of, I've forgotten the captain's name. He plays the guy who plays for Porto. He's been Mbemba. He's been very good. He's very vocal. Literally controls everything that's going on right from the back, and it goes through the spine of the team. But for me, I think Cedric Bakambu has to sit on the bench. He's not been impressive.
Yeah.
He's missing chances. If it's penalties, he's not scoring. You have Banza on the bench. He's been impressive
doing well in the Portuguese.
Yes, I think he scored 14 or 15 goals in 16 appearances. Put him in there. Let him show you what he has. Just based on the way they play, if they score first, they are not coming out. They are probably going to pitch their tent in their half end. They have a very strong defense. They have Masuaku on one side. They have their Kalulu on the other side. Very, very good defensively. Yeah. Masuaku is also very good going forward. But I've also not been impressed with his set plays.
Nah.
In that Egyptian game, there was all the corners he took were bad.
Skied it.
Like, dude, what are you doing? And then the penalty also went to Rosie. So he will need to come to the fore. But I think if they do put in Banza together with Wisa, together with Meshach.
Yeah, Meshach Elia. He's the player who excites me the most in their team. He plays for young boys.
Very tricky, very pacey, very fast. He's quite direct.
He's a typical Congolese player. Kind of reminds you a lot about Trezor Mputu-Mabi. He really couldn't hit the heights, but that's a super guy. Let's talk a bit about the Guineans. They've also had a very interesting ride here. They were in the same group with Cameroon.
Yeah.
I think they were third, right?
I think they finished third. They won a game. I think they won one game, and then they lost to Senegal. And then they beat Equatorial Guinea, one of 16. They've made it here. Just your general thoughts on how they've made it here. Then we can talk about how each side can win today.
I'm surprised they are here because they are missing their big man up top. And
Jurassic.
I
was really hoping to see a lot of Jurassic in this tournament.
He will show up in this game.
The funny thing is they're not even relying on their most popular players. Navigator has been in and out of the squad.
But Nabi's been brilliant off the bench.
Yes.
When he's not been in.
He's a spark. It's like a spark plug you put in an engine and it starts going. Yeah. But for them, this is a tournament that They should be glad where they are.
Okay.
They should be glad where they are. I plead with them that they should open up this game so that we see some amazing football. If we are to go by the form of...
That worries me a little, because when they won that first game, 6 people died out of the excitement. I'm sorry.
But
I get you. I mean, they need to play some more attacking football.
As for the deaths, they are another thing for another day, but they need to play some exciting football. They are the team that concede the least number of shots in the tournament.
Wow.
Coming up against a team that also sky the most number of shots. They waste the most number of opportunities. That just leaves us at one position. Anyone who scores first gets the advancement into the next stage. It's that
so you think first goal wins?
First goal wins.
They will not open up. Nobody's going
first
to
goal wins. That's it. Because, listen, they are going to be flying those crosses.
We saw them come back against Zambia. So they've come back twice
against Morocco too.
Yeah.
Yes.
So once you score them, they'll come. But if they score first, they are not opening up.
That we haven't seen. Okay, I think
against Egypt they scored. They
receded.
Egypt got a penalty. I mean, if Egypt didn't get a penalty, I don't think they were going to score.
Coming back. Yeah. So what are you saying? You're saying that first goal wins this.
First goal wins this. We are not going to see a flurry of goals in this particular game because they are so tactically adapted to a certain system they are going to play. Yeah. For me, if they are able to bring in Jurasi, it would really help them up front. That means they'll have 2 big men up front with Bayo and Jurasi. Yeah. That will provide a little more problem for the Congolese defenders. But if they put only Bayo up front, Bayo has been their big man. He scores most of their goals at this tournament. But he alone against this Congolese defense.
Well, I think if he plays up front, it's he and Chancel in Bemba.
He's not getting past.
Bemba wins that any day. Emmanuel, if you are DR Congo, you've managed to quote-unquote escape 3 draws. You beat Egypt in a shootout. You are here. Clearly, you may want to try something a little more adventurous, won't you? Or it's still the same mode, let's just stay in the game.
Why do you don't change a losing a winning formula. You are not going to. And they've actually played some very tough teams. You look at Morocco, you look at Egypt. Those are 2 very, very difficult games. They've managed to come out on top in both games. That's what has gotten them thus far. I really doubt they are going to change anything. Okay. I think they are going to stick to the same way they are going to play. It's just down to who scores first. If after 90 minutes is 0-0, trust me, that extra time is going to be the most boring 30 minutes of your life because both of them will not open up. And that's how it's going to be. If with what Sedinam is saying, if both Girassi and Bayu go up front, then now it gives their defense a bit more thinking to do. But then Girassi also, I think he was injured.
He was injured.
So he's now he may getting match fit and all those kind of things. So,
but he's played in the previous game.
He got some minutes.
Yeah, that means he should just play.
So you
throw him there.
Him.
Yeah, I'll throw him in there.
Okay.
Throw him in there.
But that means you are losing one person in the midfield. But I think their midfield will take care of itself. Between Haidara, Kamara and Koulibaly.
That's a very solid midfield.
I mean, what I will say though, they don't stop running.
What I will say though is that I think Naby Keita, we saw him when he came off the bench, was brilliant. So maybe he's a card that their coach can hold in his hand and then play a little later to see if he can now open up the Congolese as maybe if they're still goalless after 70 minutes.
I think should the game be barred at 70 or 75, if he brings Naby in there,
then they should go for it.
Yeah, just like they did against Equatorial Guinea. Last minute, we score, we close the game, we go home. Not going to try to go into extra time. And that might work. Naby Keita, yes, he knows how to run with the ball. He knows how to find 1 or 2 passes in there to break defenses. If they would want to go that route, which I think they would, that may reward them in some bits. It's just down to how long can you stay in the game without conceding. That's the whole dynamic of this game.
First goal wins this.
Yeah.
So what if that first goal comes early?
We're going to see a very boring match. And one team sitting back and the other team just trying to break them.
And when the goal comes early, we might see a red card.
Oh, wow.
That's another facet to it.
The physicality. They are very physical.
Both of them.
If you look at the midfield, Haidara, Kamara, and then Koulibaly.
Workman's midfield, really. the Congolese.
They can throw in
naturally-
Bissouma too. That's another
Yeah,
physical body.
yeah.
No, that's for Mali.
That's
Mali.
Mali.
That's Mali.
We'll talk about the Malians after the break. So we've marked this game as the game that potentially may not be too pleasing.
I'll be very surprised if it's an exciting watch.
I'm telling you, it could be.
I
They could open up, seeing that, listen, we are here anyway. Let's
put the
just
handbrake down and let's just go at it.
let's go at it.
But it's still
Score
going to
3-3.
be No. Under
Score 2 more goals in
under
extra time.
2.5.
Under 2.5, yeah, the Panther. You'd stick on that. You
Under
can bet that on
2.5.
Bet Power to see. But we'll see how it goes. But I think the general consensus really is that two teams who have kind of struggled to get to this point.
Yeah.
And I guess if any team that exits, though, they should be fine. They should be.
Yeah, I think Guinea hasn't made the knockouts in a very long
in
time.
a very long time.
Yeah, they haven't. And but I think the Guinea coach have been actually very impressed with him. You know, normally when you have big personalities and big players in your team, normally African coaches are a bit timid and they are forced to play them. But this is more of what the team wants, what the team needs, and what the team can do.
Okay.
It goes over and above any player's ego or your name or your popularity.
Yeah.
You are putting up a team that is fit enough for purpose and is going to execute a game plan. If you are needed, we'll call on you. You don't see any bickering on the bench or anything.
I heard they were giving a strong talking to by the military leader before leaving.
Everybody is falling in line. We are here for business. We are here to fight for the pride of our country. You put your egos aside. We go on the pitch. We put. I mean, and the reward is a semi-final.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
go out
true. I
there.
mean, that's a huge reward because if either team makes the semi, that's success in a competition that I think they didn't even expect to make this last stage. So they've been here. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. Guinea versus DRC. That's the 8 p.m. game. I insist, contrary to what the guys think, that game will be exciting. They'll call me and tell me, and I'll record the calls and play it to everybody. Anyway, this is the AFCON Daily Show on Citi TV. My name is Nathan Kwa. My guests, Sedna Medmon and Emmanuel Nubo. Show probably brought to us by Bet Power. We'll take a very quick break. When we come back, we talk about the South Africans. They are also in the competition. We'll talk about their opponents as well and the other quarterfinals that will be played across the weekend and early next week. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. This is the AFCON Daily Show on Citi TV. Show is proudly brought to us by Bet Power, and we are live on Citi TV. You can also watch us on DSTV channel 363, Go TV channel 182. Let's move it on. Let's get to the third quarterfinal of the ongoing AFCON competition in La Côte d'Ivoire. And the host nation are on the menu. They take on Mali in the third quarterfinal. And let's have a look at that particular one. Mali taking on Côte d'Ivoire. That game will be played over the weekend. They play at 5 p.m. on Saturday. They play in Boaké. Boaké is in northern Côte d'Ivoire at the Stade de la Paix. It's Mali taking on Côte d'Ivoire. Now, Mali, they were stationed in Boaké throughout the group stage. Because they did very well in their group, they get to stay. And their variants, quote-unquote, are the traveling side. They move up north to play there. Let's have a look at their respective journeys to this point. First up, the Malians, and then the host country, Côte d'Ivoire. All right, so you've seen how the two teams made it to the last 8 of the competition. Côte d'Ivoire survived. Their story is extraordinary. They were given so many opportunities to stay alive in the competition. They took them, and they are still here. They are still here, of course, using that penalty shootout against Senegal to get to the quarterfinals of the competition. The Malians, guys, a bit more straightforward for them. Beat South Africa, and then they got 2 subsequent draws, 5 points. Then they beat Burkina Faso. And I think what was probably the most straightforward round of 16 game.
Burkina had a fight in there somewhere, but
I think their cause wasn't helped by the early goal they conceded. Yes. The own goal was really bad. And then they conceded another goal very early in the second half. They do have focus problems. Anyway, let's talk about Mali. We'll get to the host nation because their story has different parts. Sedam, your thoughts on what we've seen from Mali. A lot of people believe that this is the competition that Mali will use to announce itself properly as one of the more elite teams. Have you seen that? Have you seen an elite Malian team?
Not really. This is just Mali on the normal level. This is the Mali we've become accustomed to. It's just that the other big gangs have failed us in many ways. That's why Mali seems to be a spark. But this is just how Mali normally performs. And for me, hey, they have really got a nice talent belt, so they keep on coming up with great talent, coming up with great people through the mill. And it's working for them. They've got really nice organization when they are playing on the pitch as well. And that's one thing that I want to really applaud them for. They've got that focus, that drive, that this is the game that we need to approach in a very, very interesting way, and then we'll go and kill it. But this is going to be their toughest test yet.
Okay. What they have to do with what? The host nation, crowd, pressure?
For the crowd and pressure.
Or the fact that they need to pass this test, just looking at where they want to get to.
Definitely. But for the crowd and pressure, it's more like the crowd themselves will drop their heads first, even before the team would. Should they see that things start going south, the crowd would quickly turn on them. But for the inconsistency of the Ivorians, that's what the Malians should be prepared for.
But you're saying that it will be their toughest?
Because you don't know which Ivorian team would show up. You simply cannot tell. Is it the one that played Senegal or the one that lost 2 games? They are the only side to have lost 2 games and still in the competition as at now. So they've gotten 3 opportunities, and this is, you don't know which one would turn up.
Okay. So I get it. So it's tricky for the Malians to kind of get ready for them.
Yeah.
Because if the bad Cote d'Ivoire shows up, great. If the good Cote d'Ivoire shows up,
difficult.
Makes it tough. Iman, let's talk about the Ivorians. Like Sednam said, the only team to have been handed this many opportunities to stay alive, the group campaign didn't go well at all. They sacked their coach. MS5 came in. They needed Morocco to do them a favor. Yeah. Morocco did them a favor. Then they had to beat Senegal. What a journey.
Roller coaster all over the place. But for me, this game, I think it will be won and lost in the midfield. It's between Haidar, actually, and then Seri. He was very impressive in that game. For me, I think he was my man of the match. It's going to be between those two. Whoever they partner with, whether it's Sangare, Fofana, or they start Kessie in there. I think Max Gradel is gone. He's 37. Cote d'Ivoire played very well. After conceding, I think they pretty much dominated the game till they got their penalty, went to extra time and won on penalties. He was a no-show. I don't remember him even taking 10 touches of the ball. So probably they'll have to sit him down, maybe bring in Kessie. Then you have 3 in midfield, push Fofana a bit further forward, and then you had him with Crasso and
a lot of people talk about the Ivorian midfield mix.
Yeah.
And for a lot of observers, they feel that is where the problem is, because they have a lot of players who are very similar.
I think it's the balance.
Okay.
And I'm happy that the coach who came in to kind of steady the ship, he had balls to take that decision that, okay, I need someone to shield my defense. Because let's be honest, this Ivorian defense is not as impressive as Ivorian teams we've seen before. Their goalkeeper also doesn't fill you with much confidence. Exactly. So you need someone in there who he's a master at helping a defense. He's a master of the DM role. And that's Seri. I mean, 3 or 4 years ago, he was almost being poached by Barcelona. That didn't go well. He came into the Premier League. He played for Fulham, but now he's playing for Hull City also. But he actually showed his experience. He's the reason why they were able to put that much pressure on Senegal and then put them on the back foot. So he starts for me. Now who you pair him with? Who complements? Because we know Fofana is more like a box-to-box player. He's even going to be more offensive, like they set him out there. Sangare, some games is good, some games is not good. You know what you are going to get from Frank Kessie. Do you play all 4 of them, or you play 3 of them for balance? So you have one defensive guy in there, one who plays more like an 8, and then the other plays like a 10. So then it's actually between Kessie and Sangare, who sits and who starts. For me, I think probably Sangare starts because he's had the more consistent number of games.
So you keep Kessie on the bench?
I keep Kessie on the bench. But then if you're keeping Kessie on the bench, doesn't mean Gradel starts, because I wouldn't want him to start. So you probably have to bring in Adingra so that you have more like a 3-man up front. Then Fofana can join in there. Then you have 2 sitting in the midfield. So you have Seri and then you have Sangare. Okay. And then the 4 of them can do damage up front and put some pressure on the Malian defense, who also, in as much as they are good, I think their lateral defenders are very good, but the center pair and the goalkeeper also.
So on that score, if you are MS5, which call do you make? Do you go with Crasso or you go with Allaire?
Haller also hasn't played much club football. I think he's played just 3 games for Dortmund this season.
He came into the competition with an injury.
Yes.
He only played his first minutes in that game against
Yes.
Senegal.
Krasu has had more game time. I think he scored 2 goals. So you start with Krasu. Then I think Adingra has to start.
I see.
He's more direct. He plays for a team where they are ready to pass and move. Unlike Pepe, who hold on to the ball, draw players. I think Pepe performs better when he comes off the bench and has a point to prove. When you start him, he probably gets a bit swollen-headed, loses focus, and then...
And of course, when the opposition defense is tiring, then there's some space.
And if you are going... On whichever flank he plays, he's either going to face Traore or Sakho. Those guys aren't going to allow you any easy game. So you have to be someone who can easily let go of the ball, move into space, get the ball back, deliver the ball, and then let your attackers attack the ball. So for me, that's it. Seri obviously starts. You put in Sangare in there. Then now, please don't let Gradel start this game. I beg you. Because the Malians in that midfield, if you lose the midfield, you are going to lose the game.
And it just leads me to that the Ivorian game with Senegal. It was almost muscles over technique, and muscles won that day. But now they come up against a midfield that is equally physical. Quite a war in that midfield, like Emmanuel is saying.
So in such situations, when there's too much muscle in the midfield, you try and play around the midfield to avoid that crowd in there. But who is going to have the balls to do it? Like Emmanuel was saying, if you bring in a Pepe, it will be minus for Cote d'Ivoire because you want to play around that crowded midfield and you've got to do it quickly.
Yeah.
But for Pepe, he will hold on to the ball. That's why Adingra fits perfectly.
Okay.
So whoever manages to play around it, because in the midfield, there's going to be so much.
Yeah, the
there's
Malians
going to be
will
a
have
bloodbath.
they are too high. Darren.
It's going to be choked.
It will be choked. So on the Malian side, assuming they want to do something different, what would they do? Should they still match the Ivorians for numbers, or you want to have somebody like Yves Bissouma in there just to change the dynamics slightly? But Yves Bissouma is not the coach's best friend, so he's benched him in a lot more games.
For the name, you might want to start him, but for the impact on the team, I don't think Yves should start because in that midfield, if Yves starts, he's going to struggle. If he starts, he's going to struggle because look at the amount of muscle coming in.
Yeah.
Can Yves have his moment where he's going to be turning on the ball in the middle?
And Bissouma is not the quickest in possession, to be honest. He labors on the ball.
Yeah, the longer you hold on to that ball, you are going to do your team a big disservice because both teams have firepower front. You look at Sinayoko, you look at Koita. I hope he starts this game. Once they get the ball, they are releasing it to them. Against a team where your defense is not too solid already, I think the Ivorian left back is a corner. He was solid enough in the game against Senegal. But for me, I think he's more of an offensive threat than a defensive threat. Yeah. So if you put him on the same side with Pepe, that's going to be a minus because he's going to make overlapping runs and Pepe is not going to release the ball to him. Then you find yourself wanting because now you would have to either Seri now have to fill in a gap. And already it's a midfield battle. The more men you lose in the midfield, the more you open up the game for your opponent.
Interesting dynamic there. So up top, you'd have Sinayoko, who's settled. I think has 3 goals, I believe. He has settled more. Then the Ivorian forward line, which is still struggling. Alain is just coming in. Kraso scored a very good goal on opening day. He hasn't done much since. Interesting. So it's a war of the midfield, like we're saying, and an attack that can find a little and put the ball in. Let's deal with the externalities. You are Mali. You've played in Boaké all through. You are comfortable. But you are now up against the host nation, the home crowd. How do you think they will handle that amount of, or the pressure is no longer on them, it's on the Ivorians?
I mean, the Ivorians being hosts, the pressure will definitely be on them. And especially they would want to make amends for how bad they started. They had to wait till the last day to guarantee or confirm qualification. So
they are impatient self-sack their coach.
Exactly. they would want to make amends, especially for that. At least get into the semi-finals. Even if you place fourth, it's not so bad. But then for Mali also, football development has gone on there, you'd also want to prove and show that, okay, the money you have put in there is yielding some form of results. I think Mali has a slight advantage in that they finished their game in 90 minutes. They didn't have to play extra time and penalties, which can be draining in itself, especially for Cote d'Ivoire when they played against Senegal. So you are fresher, you've also not traveled much. Cote d'Ivoire has to travel up north. So for them, also, they will need to impose their will a bit early in this game.
Okay.
At least this Cote d'Ivoire 2.0 team has proven that they can dominate games, they can come back. So if you don't impose your will and you're a bit lackluster and then they get the drive, they're moving the ball around, the crowd gets behind them, it could actually be a very tall order for you, just like it was for Senegal. So they would have to, that's it, they are a home team more or less, so they would have to impose their will, get their forward players in there, put some pressure on their defense, play a few shots at their unsettled goalkeeper and take it up from there.
Finally, we've heard the Malian coach talk about the need to gain respect from the rest of the continent. So what is a respectable achievement in this competition? Quarters, semis?
There should be semis for them.
Okay. So you feel that they have one more level in them?
And beating the home nation in their backyard would really command respect. If respect is all he wants in the tournament, that would really command respect. And how he sets up his team against this particular, like Emmanuel said, Ivorian 2.0.
Cote d'Ivoire 2.0.
Cote d'Ivoire 2.0 would be very, very important. Midfield battle, match them boot for boot, take your opportunities. You can go for a shooting practice as well. Try some
Fire
few
shots at Fofana.
Fofana is not. Once it opens up, he's going to put his boots through it. You know that just based on how he's been.
See. Interesting. We'll see how it plays out in Boaké. It's Mali versus Cote d'Ivoire. The Ivorians are hoping that it works well for them. The last thing I'll say about Cote d'Ivoire is that I hope there won't be any more meme generating. I've had so much fun watching that video. You know, like this was caught live on the feed.
Yeah.
You know, and so when I saw it, I was like, what's going on here? Only for the gentleman Anselm Santos to come and apologize to his wife. I don't know if you've seen the story.
Yeah. No, I saw the mail, but I didn't follow
that's what happened. So he was found. He was tracked down.
He was found.
Yeah, I like that. He was found. And he was interviewed. And he said, look, I'm sorry to my wife and children. Like, he said in the euphoria, he was asking the woman for her number. And she wasn't budging. So that was
give
really...
me your number?
so if you watch... So when he said, I went back to watch the clip again. And I was trying to lip read. And it was true. He actually did ask for the woman's number. The woman didn't look comfortable at all. She was trying to
ward him enthused at all.
Yeah, but this is that you've become the star of the competition for the wrong reasons. Now you are in the press. Everybody sees you. They'll point at you. Your wife and kids have to deal with this. Or Anselm Santos. No. That's not the best way to start an AFCON. Let's talk about the final quarter-final, the last game in the quarter-final. It's South Africa and Cape Verde, two countries who have done very, very well. Cape Verde, people say they didn't expect them to do well. South Africa, because of previous reputation and what we've seen on the continent in terms of club football, people expected them to shine, but they've reached the quarterfinal. And they play on Saturday at 8 p.m. At the Shah Kona Bani at Yamoussoukro. Like we've done for all the other teams, let's see how these two teams got to the quarterfinals of the 2023 AFCON tournament in Cote d'Ivoire. All right, Bafana beating Morocco to, highlight their story. They've made it to the last 8 after disposing of the Moroccans and then getting through the group stages. It's been a very interesting ride for these two teams, almost contrasting fortunes. So Cape Verde have had you can call it a perfect ride through, no losses, 2 wins and a draw. Beat Ghana, drew with Egypt.
With their second string team, actually.
Yeah, tore into the Mozambicans properly. Yeah. And then they needed a last-minute penalty to survive against, Mauritania. Very interesting game. The South Africans, they started on a low, lost to Mali, beat Namibia, played out a brilliant performance against Tunisia, and they had to play virtually out of their minds against Morocco to survive and win that game by 2-0. It almost like brings them together, two contrasting parts. So now let me start off with you. Let's talk about Cape Verde, one of your favorite teams. You've highlighted the different things they've done all through. Let's talk about some of the things you've seen them do, and then we zone in on what all of it will mean against South Africa.
So one thing that they've done brilliantly is to find your weakness and capitalize on it. So they just scout you out properly, and then they play to defeat you at your weak points. And they've done that brilliantly. Sometimes I wonder if we would ever see a team like this from Cape Verde again, because the average age is bad.
This team is aging.
Yeah.
Over 29 years, 30 years, and they are that old. And this is their last tournament. After this, they are done. So they are just enjoying it. They call it cruise. We can call it cruise control for them now. But going into a game against South Africa, they are going to need to play above everything they've done so far. I don't want to talk about the South Africans yet because they're a special case.
I see.
They're a special case. But for the Cape Verdeans, brilliant stuff. And they play as a team, so anyone who comes in fits in perfectly well. The kind of goals they have been scoring.
It's not that against Egypt, they made changes, but the intensity did not drop.
Even from the first game, they capitalized on certain things that football nation Ghana did wrong in there, and they got all the needed capabilities to get through. They played Mozambique, they were good. The Egyptian game actually...
that Mozambique game, I think it highlights when you scout properly. Yeah. Because, and I was wondering, when I was watching the game, I was like, why are they shooting at the Mozambican goalkeeper? Why are they doing it? But it turns out the Mozambican goalkeeper does have issues with long-range shots.
And that was his
They scored two of the three or so were from long-range shots.
Yeah. That was his last game in the competition. After that, they changed him against Ghana.
I see.
He has this one, the one who was catching air bubbles. He has a bald head. The one they brought against Ghana has grown hair. He can't grow hair in that quick time of a space. But
interesting.
The likes of Bebe. That means they have now scouted the South African team and have found the deficiency. I just want to see how they deploy it. It's going to be very, very interesting. But
all right.
I will not tip anyone in this.
All right, Emmanuel, your thoughts on the South Africans, what we've seen. They've experienced all kinds of emotions, but they are here, the last 8.
I mean, as you stated in the intro, they didn't start the tournament well. Percy Tau got a penalty, put it into the sky. They lost that game.
He scores that the story is probably different.
Yes, and they've gradually grown into the tournament. I like how this game looks. Two teams that like to play the ball. Two teams that like to move around. It's not a static kind of formation. You talk about Cape Verde, that front 3 or front 2 or whatever you call them, they pop in and around anywhere. So just they go with the swing of the game. Regardless, they still stick to the structure. So you find Bibi on the left, you find him central, you find him right. It's a bit fluid, so it makes it more difficult to kind of pin your eye on someone. But then South Africa, in as much as they like to play together and progress the ball from defense, in as much as that is good, that could be a problem. Because as Sedinam indicated, if Cape Verde are going to stick true to themselves, which is exploiting their opponent's deficiencies. We saw against Mali in that game that playing out from the back, if you are able to put them under some intense pressure, they may crack. And that's something that Cape Verde may look to exploit. We saw a bit of that against Ghana where they pinned us into our 18 and we couldn't progress the ball. No, Ghana couldn't progress the ball.
That's fine, it's okay.
So that's something that you think Cape Verde should have watched, seeing that they scout teams very well. So South Africa would need to be careful. They'll need to know when to and how to. But also, I think Percy Tau needs to come to the show.
Yeah,
he needs to show that he's the big man. He needs to show that he's their postage guy. Other players have stepped up. We've seen a lot from Mokoena. We've seen Mbala, the defender. He was, outside the penalty, he was immense in that Morocco game. Nothing went past him. And
Temba Zwane has looked really good as well. I enjoy watching him.
He scored some very good goals. I like their number 9. He seems to pick his moments, but we need to see more of that because...
What's his name? Evidence. Mokopa. Yeah. What kind of names are the evidence?
He's the bald head in the number 9 shirt. I mean, that's how best we can do. But you need to see more of that. But another thing about South Africa is they pick their moments. And Cape Verde, had Mauritania been a bit more efficient with that Gil's Air chance they had, that would have changed the dynamics of this game because that was, I think, it had about 10 or 15 minutes more to go. And if you saw Mauritania against Algeria, how they defended that goal.
1-0 Mauritania, and they defend to the death.
Yeah, and that's the setup they would have also used. So Cape Verde will also need to be careful because this SC team, they know how to grind results. They know how to stay in games. Yeah. They know how to... I mean, they have a very, very good structure. I like the spine of the team. The goalkeeper good. You have Mvala, you have Mokoena, then you have...
Of course, I mean, if you have 8 players from Sundowns, it helps.
The Brazilians of... and I mean, Sundowns, you say they are top 3, top 5 team in Africa.
They are.
There's the cohesion is already there.
The African Super League, won the CAF Champions League 2016,
exactly.
And they've gone close ever since. You know, it's not like Orlando Pirates who won in '95 and then they didn't have a crack at it until the noughties. Yeah. But Sundowns won it in 2016, and they are there or thereabouts, either in the Comfort Cup. And they're very consistent. So I think that's something the South Africans will build on. Yeah. But you are Hugo Bruce. You are here. You look at Cape Verde. Should South Africa be tempted to go after Cape Verde and see if they can dominate the game, or they need to be careful of what the Cape Verdeans can do? Because we've seen Cape Verde, they don't even have time to sit back. They attack all the time.
They're coming at you.
You want to, sorry, sit down before I get to you.
You just need to hit them. So go at them, pin the ball up, so that you're able to play in the spaces that they leave, because they are always coming at you. Yeah. They keep pressing. Now, Emmanuel mentioned something that playing from the back might be something which is deficient, because if the Cape Verdeans notice it, they would pounce on that. Exactly. So what you've got to do now is just one pass and then lob the ball over them for a runner to get onto it. Yeah. And then just tap it back into Zwane for him to now look for Pesitao. For Pesitao, I think he's playing the team game. So we'll let him rest because he's been a pale shadow of himself.
Yeah, he hasn't been that good.
That's the only way they can beat them. One ball to either right or left and then pin it. When you pin the ball, you beat all the subsequent presses and just try and hold that ball, draw it back, and then unleash a shot or something of that sort. But if you leave yourself and you go and be passing, you pass to right, give to goalkeeper, Williams goes to the left. Yeah. That one, you have baby pressing you.
Yeah, the Cape Verdeans are very strong in the press. Yeah. Very, very energetic.
They set up very brilliantly. I would say it's somehow like how Man City press. So they are not really just going after the man, but they are trying to cover the space where you'd like to play the ball.
Passing angles.
Yeah. So once the interception is done, the next pass is to a forward man. It's either going out wide for a cross back into either the first post or the back post. Quick transition, and they are in behind your defense.
All right. It will be fascinating on the tactical side of things. I think that there's a picture that's making the rounds. I'm not too sure of Rulani Mokoena, scouting for the South African. He's an absolutely fascinating tactical mind.
Brilliant.
He is super. He's box office. I mean, if he is there, I haven't seen him on TV in a while. If he is there, of course, then he's Hugo Bruce's second pair of eyes. Yeah. And he knows this team. Yeah. He knows the South Africans, 8 players from his team. Yeah. And a lot of his players are in the tournament. Then Namibia number 9, Peter Shalule is Sundowns player. Yeah. So I guess, if he's the extra pair of eyes for Hugo Bruce, he would know what exactly to do. But I get the sense this will be an open game.
Yeah. But I think South Africa will also have experience on their side. They have a coach who's won the AFCON before.
Yeah, with Cameroon.
Yes, so he knows how to calm this team down, even if in the game things may not be going their way in terms of, we want to pass the ball and move. We are not getting enough of the ball. Okay. How to steady their head, how to steady the ship. Because it's knockout football. You are just trying to take advantage of something small that goes wrong in the opponent's team. Yeah, and then, in as much as you are trying to do that, you are trying also not to give away much. So if you have someone like that in your corner who's been there, done that, it also helps and gives you a bit of an advantage.
The Cape Verdeans collectively have their own little experiences playing all across the world, all across Europe. Yeah. And for a lot of them who have gone through the Portuguese system, they come together and they form a very formidable team. And they are one-time quarter-finalists, so we'll see. But I think South Africa can draw on very recent history. Remember, they did a number on Egypt in the 2019 edition. So they've been here before, and we'll see. It should be a fascinating game. I'd love to see how this one plays out.
It will be like the direct opposite of the DR
Congo. Potential DR Congo. encounter. Again, I wonder whether South Africa would want to be a little conservative and back off the Cape Verdeans, or whether it will be Cape, because we haven't, like I said, we haven't seen Cape Verde play on the back foot in the competition. No. They've attacked every team, and I guess they won't change now once they are here.
No, you don't change what got you to where you are.
Exactly.
But maybe because the stakes are high, you are now a little bit more careful.
But you are now also enjoying the part where you never expected it. You're coming from a group of Ghana
and Egypt.
Mm-hmm. You top the group.
Yeah.
These two teams are home. You need to enjoy yourself. You are the only surviving member of their group. You need to enjoy yourself.
Equatorial Guinea also topped their group, but they are out, so...
Well,
you never know.
That's kind of interesting. Guys, that's how I wrap it up. Thank you so much, Sednam Edmond. Thank you, Emmanuel Nuboy. Thank you out there for watching. It's been another exciting episode of the AFCON Daily Show on Citi TV Show, proudly brought to us by Bet Power. My name is Nathan Kwa. We are back on Monday. By then, the dust would have settled on the quarterfinals. We'll see who got their predictions right, who got their predictions wrong, who would stay, and who would be home by the time we are back on Monday at 11 a.m. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the quarterfinals. Of course, there's live radio commentary of the games on Citi 97.3 FM. So tune in and enjoy the action. We'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend.